welcome to my channel, Vintage Twist Co. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on my video, and thank you so much for all my subscribers. Today I'm going to be refinishing this antique waterfall, not antique, it's vintage waterfall dresser. I'm going to start by removing the hardware. But the hardware, I really wish that I could use it, but there's 3 of them missing. I already took this one off, but it's solid brass handle with like these, they're called Art Deco. It's like an acrylic piece that you attach to it. Anyway, so let's get started. Now that all the hardware is off, I'm going to clean it with my favorite cleaner, Simple Green. It's a degreaser and it gets off all the grime and grossness that's been on this dresser for probably quite a few years. I also like to take out all the drawers and clean the inside and the back and everywhere. Just giving it a really good wipe down. The drawers weren't in terrible shape. Somebody had previously re-glued the dovetail joints and tried to fix them up as best as they could. So I'm gonna fix them up even more. A couple of them are just a little bit loose and they're gonna need a little bit of glue and some clamping. Now that this dresser is clean, I can get to work fixing the drawers and filling in any kind of scratches or dings or marks. This dresser wasn't that bad. There were a couple of spots on the drawers that were missing some veneer that I had to fill in. There was also a pretty big spot on the top of the dresser that was missing pieces of veneer. I don't have the right kind of veneer to cut it out and replace those pieces, so I just filled it as best as I could with my wood filler. of the veneer was lifting on the top, so I had to lay it down and let gravity pull the glue underneath the veneer, and I used a toothpick to kind of poke it in. And then I couldn't clamp it or anything, so I found a big rock that my son had recently painted. So I put that on top of a 2x4, and then I put a can of paint on top just to hold it down and make sure that it's stuck really good. I realized after I put my wood filler away that I forgot to fill the holes where the handles were, because the knobs that I have only need one hole. I put tape behind the handle holes inside the drawer so that the wood filler wouldn't push all the way through. So now it's time to sand, and I'm going to use my orbital sander with 220 grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to do a light sanding on all the drawers, except for the top drawer. I'm hoping to sand away as much of the finish as I can, because I'm hoping to do something a little different with the top drawer. While I was sanding, I noticed that this cross piece was loose, and I have no way of like taking it apart to fix it, so I just had to squeeze in some glue. And then you'll see in a minute, I tried to put in a screw to hold it, which was really tricky, and it took me a few tries, but I got it. Now I'm just cleaning up and putting down some plastic, which is actually just an old shower curtain. Thank you, Mom. I do all of this refinishing, not all of it, but most of it in my dining room. So I have to like protect everything. I wish I had a garage that I could do all of this in, but maybe one day. So now I'm almost ready to paint, which is like super exciting for me. I've never really been a huge fan of chevron, but since this drawer has the chevron pattern in it with the veneer, I thought I'd really like to try and play it up in some way. So this is my first time putting a pattern on anything using the painter's tape, and it took me quite a while to figure this out, and lots of measurements, and it was also getting kind of late at night, and I was super tired, but I was determined to get it done before I went to bed. Here you're getting your first look at the color that I chose. I'll show more of it later, but it's Dixie Belle, and it's one of their fall colors that she had this year. This one is called Merlot. I decided after I painted the drawer front that it was too much paint and it was hiding too much of the grain pattern that was underneath. So I just sprayed it with some water and wiped away the excess paint to let that beautiful grain show through. And I think it turned out a lot better. I was pretty confident painting this dresser without a primer, mostly because the color I was using was pretty dark and I didn't think that I was gonna get any kind of bleed through. This Dixie Belle chalk paint also has really good coverage, so I just went for it. I just wanted to show you here really quick that this paint gets really good coverage after just one coat, and also you can see the difference between when it's dry and when it's wet. The bottom one is dry and the top two are still wet, so it completely changes the color as it dries, and it's awesome. I love this color. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this color. When I'm painting with chalk paint, I like to spray down the surface first with just a little bit of water. It just helps to spread the paint a bit easier, and you get a little bit of a thinner coat, which helps eliminate brush marks. It's always best to do more thin coats than one or two thick coats. You end up with a much smoother surface. I'm using all Dixie Belle products this time for this dresser. Merlot is the chalk paint color that I'm using. Well, I had a little accident. I don't know why I didn't just, at this point, put some glue on and stick the tape back down and hope that the veneer would stay. but I ended up pulling all the tape off, and then I had a nice spot to fill with some wood filler, which caused me a lot of headache. Now everything will get a light sanding before I do the second coat, just to make sure that the surface that I'm painting on is smooth again and no brush marks or anything like that. Then it will all get wiped down with a microfiber cloth just to get rid of the sanding dust. You don't want all the dust getting into your paint and possibly causing issues, or it could make it feel rough to the touch instead of smooth. Now I'm just working on the second coat of paint, and just like the first coat, I'm going to use my spray bottle with a little bit of water and just mist the areas that I'm working on, just to help. It's easier to spread the paint because it's such a thick paint, and it just makes it more spreadable. Now it's time to seal this dresser up, and I've chosen to use Dixie Belles matte finish clear coat. So I've seen on other YouTube channels that they mix a little bit of the paint in with the clear coat. I think it's because with darker colors, there's a small chance that it could look a little bit cloudy when it's dry. I haven't had this experience. This is my first time using Dixie Belle's clear coat, and I really like their paint. So most of the YouTube videos that I've seen highly recommend the Dixie Belle matte finish if you really want really matte finish, because most of the other clear coats, in my experience, even the matte finish is not really matte. It still has a tiny bit of sheen to it, and I want this dresser to be super matte, so I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. So I've mixed in a little bit of paint. Probably too much. It kind of looks like too much to me, but I'm just going to go with it. After 2 coats of the matte finish, I am using Dixie Belle's Big Mamas Butta in Orange Grove scent, just to freshen up these drawers and make them smell nice. I'm just going to use my big brush to apply it, And then I'm going to use a microfiber cloth to spread it around and wipe off the excess. I have to say, I'm very impressed with this clear coat. It definitely lives up to its flat name. I ended up adding some little tacks, furniture tacks in here for the drawers to slide on because they were moving around a lot in the slots. As you can see, there's no like track for them to ride on. So this is working and I like it. They're kind of cute little button tacks. I took off the little metal feet that were on it. The older style dressers and stuff always had those, and they can scratch up your floor. I just put on some little felt pads because that's all I had at the time. Now I'm just lining up where the knobs are gonna go. They're actually not knobs, they're like circle pull doohickeys. And I'm just using a yardstick and marking, like lining up so that they're all in a line on the front of the dresser and in the right spot. And then now you can see I'm using this nifty little plastic jig thing that I found on Amazon, I believe, and it's super helpful as long as you can find like this. Just pick a spot basically and make sure that they're lined up, and then you can choose one of the holes of where on the drawer you want them to go. This video is ending up being pretty long, way longer than I intended it to be, so if you're still here and watching, then thank you for staying and sticking around and hanging out with me. If you like this video and you want to see more like this, then please consider subscribing so that you'll be notified. Oh, hit the bell too so that you'll be notified of my next video. Okay, I think I've kept you long enough, so let's see what this dresser looks like. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.